What's going on, prospectors? Dig Daddy out here in the shed, bringing you another episode of Backyard Prospecting. And today we are gearing up. We are going to check out a new piece of gear. I kind of knew I picked it up back in August when we went over to Roaring Camp. I haven't really had a chance to play with it at all, but today we're going to fix that. We picked up one of their Gold Saver pans. Now, pretty unique, and you can only pick it up there at Roaring Camp. I'll leave a link down below to their trading post so you can check it out for yourself. But we got here the Roaring Camp Gold Saver pan. It's got some pretty unique features to it, as well as some that you're probably more familiar with as well. Pans and riffles. So we're going to check that out, move over here to the other camera, give you a close-up on all the features, and then show you how it's used, and test it out here in the shed and see if we can find gold with it. So don't go anywhere. We're going to move over and check it out. All right, so we are back, and we got our Gold Saver pan here from Roaring Camp. Now this pan measures about 12.5 inches across. Now, a couple of the unique features of this pan is the gold trap you see right here. When you're panning and you're stratifying your material and panning it off, this little trap is going to be a place for your gold to kind of tuck itself into and stay safe while you get rid of all those light and semi-heavy materials. Another unique feature on this pan, if you turn it around here, there's a little notch to give you a tactile feel of when you're centered up on your pan. And that's really good, because sometimes I find that the pan might be a little bit over to the side because I'm not really seeing where the riffles are at the moment, or I'm otherwise occupied. And so this is good, so you can just grab it and know exactly when you're centered up and you're going to be panning properly. Otherwise, the pan is pretty much what you've come to know from any other pan. You got your flat area here for a good back panning space, and it's a nice wide space as well, so you can work a good amount of material in here. Some nice deep riffles so that you can when you're panning out, your gold's going to get caught up in here and not take off out of the pan. And that's pretty much that. So I noticed there wasn't a lot of tutorials or any tutorials that I could find on how to do the panning properly. So I'm going to include now a clip that I took when I was over at Roaring Camp of Mr. Mike showing us how to use this pan and how to properly find gold in this thing. So sit back and relax and let's check that out.
This pan's designed by the Renton Camp Mining Company. It's got our logo and all our information on the bottom of the pan. I like it because it's a nice deep pan and got a large working area. It's got this Gold Saver pocket here. The object is to tickle the gold and to tease the gold into the pocket. It's also got this little knob right on top of the pan here. It lets you know that the Gold Saver pocket's on the opposite side, so you don't have to fumble around looking for it. Can't see? Come over, stand up on the bench over here. Or let Dad hold you up there. There we go. She probably won't do much panning either. Anyway, it's got this nice little knob on here to let you know that the Gold Saver pocket's on the other side. Now we get down to Roaring Camp, of course it's going to be dirt. It's not going to be clean material like this. This has been pre-cleaned for us so you can see the demonstration here. You're going to want to fill your pan up about level with the top. Put it under the surface of the trough. We have 2 troughs, or you can pan at the river. You're more than welcome to pan at the river. You're going to get in there and use both hands. If you're holding the pan, one hand, you're going to massage this material in there. What you're trying to do is get rid of the dirt and try to get it down to this right here. While you're doing that, make sure you run your fingertip in the pockets a number of times. You don't want a dirt clod in that pocket, or else you can't get the gold in the pocket down there. It's going to take you 3-4 minutes to get this all worked in. Bring it up on the surface of the trough, pump it a couple times up and down, put your hand on the top, and pour the water out. You're going to have rocks in there, this big, maybe this big, a few larger rocks. You're going to pick those out, drop them in the trough or down at your feet, or toss them over the side of the bank. Now if you do this in the river will carry everything away, so you'll be able to see everything. Once you pick the big rocks out, by the way, make sure you look at it, make sure they're not a piece of gold, and if there is a piece of gold, it goes in this pocket right here. Now you notice that the pan floats, so once you get ready to start panning, you don't want to take the pan out of the water again until you're ready to take the gold out of the pan. Feel how heavy that is. You don't want to be lifting that up and down all day long, do you? No. So you put the pan back into the water, get everything in the pan moving at one time again, and you can tell if everything's moving at one time just by sticking your fingers in there. And you don't need a big action like this. You just need a little bit of swirling like this, because you're going to remove this material a tiny bit at a time. Push the pan forward, pull it back 2 times. You see how that material came out of the water, out of the pan? It's the water coming out of the pan that's sloughing about 1/4 of an inch off the top each time you do that. Or for the ladies, we're exfoliating. Increase the angle of the pan just a bit each time. And don't forget to give it just a little wiggle while you're doing that. Because if you don't give it just this little tiny bit of wiggle, this will seize up. And then it'll be like a chunk of concrete in there, and you can't get the gold to go down in the bottom. In just a little amount of time I'm talking right here and stopped, it's already seized up. So you got to get it wiggling again. And like I say, it's kind of a monotonous, so you increase the angle of the pan each time until you get about this much material in the pan, and that's about as far as you have to pan it down. And you'll notice when you shake the pan, see how it gets light on the surface? A couple times like this, and it gets dark. That's the heavier material continuing to work its way down the bottom of the pan. Now if you're right-handed, hold the pan in your left hand when you get down to this point right here. Take your right hand and gently splash this material out of the pocket. At this point here, tap the pan 3 or 4 times. That'll force the gold to go along this seam underneath this material here. And when you start looking for the gold, it'll be up here at this top half. The gold saver pocket now becomes your garbage can. Twist the pan around 1 time, give it a little nervous shake the first couple times, and then just let that water slowly eat that material away. Now the black sand in there is the iron ore. That's what your car is made of. And you notice how the gold in there just stays right in one position. It doesn't move at all. It's because the gold is 18 times heavier than the water. And you keep swirling this around until you get rid of all the gold. If you can't get the swirling down, part the water to the top, then tilt the pan real fast. It'll do the same thing. The bigger pieces like these, of course, these are called pickers. You can just reach in and pick them up. And for the little kids, the pickers can be pretty small because they got tiny little fingers. The ones like these right here, you take your fingertip and dry it off. Touch it with a dry fingertip. You're each going to want a vial. You're going to want to fill your vials all the way up to the top with water. You just touch that surface of that water and it'll almost suck that gold right off your finger. And try to watch the first couple pieces fall in. Go like this when you watch it. It's amazing. If you even think about blinking, you won't see it drop down. I would suggest plastic vials for the kids, so when they drop it, not if, and it won't break and you won't have the big alligator tears. For the adults, if you're clumsy, get a plastic vial. Otherwise, get yourself a glass one. When you put the gold in a vial, by the way, take the lid off your vial, put it in the pan, and then do the work over the pan when you're putting the gold in. That way you know where the lid's at, and if you do accidentally drop it off your fingers, it'll just drop back down in the pan.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration. Now we're going to test this pan out here ourselves in the shed and see if we can get ourselves to find some gold here and see what we can pull out of it. Now I got a little bit of pay dirt that I've gotten. No, there's no gold in. I've already gone through it. These are tailings that have been cleaned and reconstituted. We got the scale and a little bit of gold to test this out. Now, always good to know exactly how much gold's going in so you know how much you're supposed to get back out. And we are going to be putting in there roughly 0.2, well, it's supposed to be 218, but I think there's some little black sands in there from the last time I used this gold. So I expect to find at least 0.218 grams of gold, maybe a little bit more apparently. But we're gonna throw all this together and start panning it out, so don't go anywhere. All right, we are all ready to go. We got our pay dirt. Let's pour it in the pan. And that looks like a nice healthy pan's worth of pay dirt to work with anyway. So let's get it wet. And we just want to shake it back and forth like you would any other pan of gold or pay dirt. Let's move that out of the way. Swirl it around a little bit. Basically, you know, we're just stratifying, getting everything nice, dropping it to the bottom. paying mind to where that little notch is in the back here. Because when you're down here and the mucky water is covering it up, it's kind of hard to see where that little thing's at. So that's great to have back here to remind you. Alright, now they say use that to clean out the trough. Bring it back around. And now the swirling action will wash away the light stuff, and it's supposed to get into the thing down there. That was a pretty quick cleanup. And you can kind of safely pan out, because there's still some gold down there, so maybe there's just too much material that I'm trying to get out of here, or before I moved on. So we'll pan that down a little bit more. Ever increasing the angle. But otherwise, I gotta say, really quick to clean up with these. The transition here is a little bit odd, a little getting used to, getting the gold out of the trap, bringing it around. But I do like the concept of the garbage dump. After a couple tries, it gets really a lot easier. Just move your gold back up. Now, mind you, the pan is not seasoned. I did neglect to season it at all, so the gold's sliding around a little bit more than I think it should be. But all in all, there's our gold. Let's get the snuffer, sucker it up, and get it weighed out. see the flake. Alright. So that's what got left behind. Alright, so I went ahead and cleaned up the tailings, pulled the gold out that I missed on the first run, got that dried out, and I'm about to weigh it out, and see what we wound up getting there. We'll add that back to the pile that we got, total it all up, and see where we're at. Alright, let's do this. Alright, we got the gold that we found in the tailings all dried up and ready to go. Let's see what we wound up leaving behind. And sure enough, 0.017, 19. So we found our gold. That was exactly what we had missing. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. We'll add that to what we found. And sure enough, alright, welcome back. So what can I say? The Gold Saver. Not too bad of a pan. I'm sure it takes a little bit of getting used to. The process of moving the gold out of the little trough here is a little bit unnatural to me. But I do like that it holds everything down there in that space so that it can't get all over the place. It processes really quickly. If you have nuggets in there, I highly doubt the nuggets are going to find their way out of that trough. What I did lose is probably just a couple of flakes. And that may just be more my not being used to using the pan. Again, this was my first time actually using one. And considering that, I think it was a pretty decent recovery. I'm guessing only 2 or 3 flakes were lost. We'll still find them again. Always pan into a catch pan so you can go through it a second time. But overall, I give the Gold Saver a thumbs up. If you're looking for a new pan and you want to try something a little bit different, give it a shot. Pick up some of their pay dirt, and while you're at it, pick up one of their pans, and then you can go through and practice on it. I think with a little bit more practice, I would probably up the recovery on there, maybe even to 100%. We'll see. I'll give it a shot a few more times, maybe take it out to the river and see if we can put it to work out there. Overall, though, I definitely recommend checking one out. And if you get the chance to head over to Roaring Camp yourself, you should definitely do so. There are a bunch of great people out there who put together an awesome time for anybody who's into prospecting, panning, or just hanging out on the beautiful river and enjoying some barbecue. They have that every Saturday night as well. But what they definitely have there is the Gold Saver, and you can pick one up yourself, roaringcamp.com. I'll leave a link down below so you can check that out. Otherwise, this is Dig Daddy, and I just want to thank you all for hanging out here with me today while we checked out this new pan. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber so you don't miss out on any of my future content. And if you like what you see here, go ahead and hit me up on Patreon if you want to donate to the channel. I much appreciate all donations. Otherwise, if you're looking for some prospecting gear or even a little bit of pay dirt, head over to backyardprospecting.com/prospector shop, or you can just click the link there. And I got a lot of cool stuff available there as well, so check that out. Otherwise, I just want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope you tune in next time. This is Dig Daddy signing out from the shed. If I don't see you out at the river, I'll catch you in the backyard. Peace.